you had pointed out that you say music is another language.
Well, that's the way I look at it.
Right.
Because if you think about what a language does, right, all the rules or the non-rules or the characteristics of what a language does, you realize music does the same thing or can do the same thing. And I usually say that because I've been asked to become a teacher. I get asked to teach a lot of workshops and things, and I wanted to do like Reggie does, make it easy for you. And I realized, at the risk of offending anybody, especially teachers, I realized that many of us teach in a way that makes it difficult for people.
So how so? Because I think this is brilliant, the way you've explained this in the past, but people need to hear this.
Well, a lot of the times in music, we say that you have to learn a lot of rules first before you can play. And we accept that. You got to know what note it is before you can learn how to use it, and you got to know scales. That just slows you down, right? So if you turn it into a language question, think about you have a little baby.
Right.
And you say, well, I can't talk to you until you learn your alphabet. You got to know your vowels, sometimes Y.
Right.
Right. You know, you got to learn how to spell, and then we can talk. And plus, you're a beginner, so I can't talk to you. I'm a professional. You know,
Right.
You got to talk to other
So you're putting
beginners.
up barriers right away.
Right. We
Okay.
do that. We do that. And we tell the beginners that they're wrong. Like if you're teaching them a C major scale and they play a C sharp, they're wrong.
Right.
And when you're learning rules in the beginning, you're going to be more wrong than you are right.
Right.
So you're hearing over and over that you're wrong, you're going to quit.
That doesn't make it fun at all.
Not at all. So think about a baby learning a language.
Right.
Do they ever know they're a beginner?
No.
Do you ever tell them you're a beginner? Do you make them practice? Here's your vowels for today. You don't get to learn the whole alphabet. Like we don't teach kids all the notes. You only get to use the ones I tell you.
That's right.
But in the language, you learn all. By the time you've been talking a bunch of years, you start learning the alphabet. You learn them all. We don't say, here's the right ones, these are the wrong ones. Like, I don't like X. I don't want to use an X that much, but it's still, I have to learn it, right?
Right.
We don't use Z, Q, and all, but we still learn it.
Right.
Right? But in music, if we're in a certain key, you got to use these notes. The other ones are wrong.
So how do we change the thinking on that as we approach education?
From the top down.
Okay. So is it more immersion, or is it more a philosophy change?
How'd you learn to play?
Through osmosis, man. My brothers and sisters, they just made me play.
Bingo.
They didn't make me play. I wanted to play.
Exactly, because they were doing it.
Right.
So you surround a student with people who love it.
Right.
Put the student in the middle. Don't tell the student that they're a beginner. Do not correct the student when they're wrong. And just let them play.
Is this part of how you conduct your camps?
Absolutely.
So tell me a little. So for those of you who don't know, Victor is celebrating his 21st year of Wooten Woods. Is that correct?
Sure. I've
Tell
run
them-
music camps, yeah.
Please tell these guys a little bit about what you do down there.
Yeah. The easiest way to find out about it is just to go to my website, victorwooten.com. Or if you want to go directly, from the website, my website, you can find the campsite. Or you can go directly there, which is vixcamps.com. But it's VIX camps, so VIXCAMPS. And you can get to the website. And we run camps April through October, a different camp every month, different topics. We started with just bass players.
Okay.
And here's what I learned from Reggie. Reggie is a teacher that can access your strengths really quickly, even strengths you didn't even know you had. And that's where he starts. He starts with what you're already good at. The same way we do with babies learning a language. We don't tell them, well, you're not speaking true English, so I can't listen to you or I can't talk to you. Right. We learn the baby's way of communicating, right? Your parents know what every sound is you make, right? So we accept their way, knowing they're going to learn our way later. So we accept their way as right. So in music, Reggie does the same thing. Whatever sound you can make, he'll put on a drum machine, he'll start playing chords, he'll start singing, and he'll make that sound. Doesn't matter what instrument, what the sound is. He'll provide context to the sound, and all of a sudden you're musical. Doesn't have to be right. Right? Music doesn't have to be right. Music just has to be, or the instrument, the sound doesn't have to be right. It just has to be put into a context. You know, like my brother Joseph says, you can hit a table, cough, whatever. Out of context, that doesn't make sense. But put it in the context.
Right.
All of a sudden, you got
We
the
got a
whole
groove.
crowd.
Yeah.
Because you start hearing the context, not the individual note. But we teach individual notes, and they have to be right before we can put them in the context. That's backwards.
Right. So
That's-
it
yeah.
sounds to me like you remove the constraints.
As much as possible.
Okay.
Because the student usually comes to you with some constraints
Okay.
that they've already learned. And so the goal is to try to
Some
break that
deprogramming in there?
down. Right, right. Exactly,
Well, yeah,
exactly.
I need deprogramming sometimes. I mean, we all get in our own heads, don't we? Yeah. That's,
Yeah, especially adults, as we start to pay more attention to what we think others are thinking about us.
Isn't that the truth, man?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I wonder if I played that note right. I know Victor's out there. Oh, darn.
Right.
And then you get all in that, and
Exactly.
the head game starts happening, and then you lose who
Right.
you are and why Victor or whomever is there. In the
Bingo.
first place, they're here to hear you as an individual.
Bingo, bingo.
Right.
And we put that into young students quickly.
Oh,
right?
man.
So if you can catch them like my brothers caught me before you learned that, the way you didn't learn, you were just playing with your family and they accepted you.
Right.
So you got good fast. And then you learn the rules later.
That's very true.
Yeah,
And
you talk
learn-
for years before you learn how to read and write.